Throughout Australia, more and more people are regularly dining out. Sometimes from hunger, but more usually just to eat out or to celebrate. They expect, as a matter of course, a high standard of service. They become used to being served by individual waiters who quickly learn their requirements and often advise them on food and particularly wine. The tip is a generous one and is seen by a young waiter who's been in attention at another table. He's envious, as he never seems to receive such gratuities himself.
How do you manage it? I seem to enjoy giving you that tip.
I earned it. Come on into the pantry, I'll tell you how.
In the waiter's pantry, the older waiter tells him.
I always endeavour to create an atmosphere that's more than just a meal. I suggest different foods with different wines to make the meal a smooth operation, one that will leave taste memories and inevitably bring my customers back to me again. It's important that you have a sound knowledge of your foods and more particularly of your wines.
But many of my customers don't want wine.
How do you know? Do you ask them?
Well, no.
I thought not. Food, and particularly wines, are well advertised on television, in the newspapers and in magazines. Many restaurants have wine notices prominently displayed, and wine lists should always be as readily available as the menu. Nearly everyone likes to read the names of the various wines. There are dozens of different Australian wines available, equal to the best in the world, and just as interesting to taste. Most of your customers have some knowledge of wine, but they expect you to offer them a suggestion. There are three main styles of wines served at table. Firstly, the appetizers, or aperitifs. These are served at the beginning of a meal, and it's a good idea to offer your customers one of these as soon as they sit down. Gives them something to do while they're reading the wine list and the menu. The appetizer wines are mainly sherry and vermouth, served slightly chilled. Sherry can be sweet, semi-sweet, but mostly dry. The vermouths can be sweet or dry and are sometimes served with ice or soda. The second group is the table wines, red, white or sparkling. Dry red, either called by its district or varietal name, or the more general terms, claret or burgundy, is usually served with meat. Red meat and red wine, easy to remember. Dry reds are best served in Australia at about cellar temperature, which is cool on the tongue. Also in the second group are the white tabled wines such as Hock, or Riesling, Moselle, White Burgundy, Chablis and Sauternes. These go best with poultry, fish and other seafoods. Keep that in mind, white meat and white wine. White wine should be served chilled. Of this group, many people regard Sauterne as a better wine for fruit desserts.
Does that complete group too?
No, we include sparkling wines in this group. Champagne, sparkling Burgundy and the pearl wines. This group is often suggested as an aperitif. Cold and refreshing, they make a very good start for a meal.
And what comes into the third class?
The sweet dessert wines. These are port, tokay and muscatel and are served with sweets.
Now let's see if I can remember them all. The appetizers. Sherry and vermouth, and occasionally a sparkling wine. Then the table wines. Red and white and sparkling. And finally, the dessert wines. Port, tokay, muscatel, and similar styles.
That's fine. And how are you going to sell them?
Well, how about telling me?
I've told you about wine advertising, but it's when your customer is actually at the table that your suggestions are likely to get the best results. The waiter asks if they would like a glass of sherry before their meal. Or, may I suggest a bottle of hock with your chicken? Perhaps you would like a bottle of red with your steak, sir. Do you prefer the light or the full-bodied style? Would you like me to bring you a port with your dessert? Or would you prefer it with your coffee?
Is that all I have to do? It should be easy.
It's never easy. It helps if you know what wines you have on hand. Learn your wine list, and make sure that all those listed are in stock.
Suppose a customer wants a red wine with fish. Do you tell him it's the wrong wine?
Now let's get this straight. There's no such thing as the wrong wines. Rules like red wine and red meat are generally accepted, but it may not suit your particular customer's taste. You suggest or recommend, but don't press the point. Any wine with any dish may suit some palates. So always serve your customer what he asks for, even though you may not wholly agree with him. It's his privilege. I knew a waiter once. His name was Stuart. It wasn't long before we were calling him stupid.
We'll have 2 grilled bream, 1 very well done.
Okay, 2 bream.
1 well done.
They're all well done.
And waiter,
Now what?
how about taking the wine order as well? We'll have a bottle of this claret.
Claret?
Yes, certainly.
With fish?
Why not?
Red wine? White meat? You won't like it.
But I do like it.
It's against all the rules.
To hell with the rules. Bring the wine.
Gee, I hope no one sees you.
We'll never come here again. Wait a minute, I didn't order that wine.
Well, it's too late now. It's already open.
Well, I would prefer to check the label and see the bottle open. And under the circumstances, I suppose we'll have to take this one to avoid an argument. Waiter!
Yes, sir.
Get me a cloth and send the manager to me.
He's crazy. You couldn't win an argument like that.
You should never try to win an argument with a customer. Advise them, yes. But if they don't want to follow your suggestions, go along with them. There is, of course, the correct way to serve the wine. First, show the label to the host to let him see that he's getting what he ordered. Don't tear off the foil. Cut it cleanly, which leaves the bottle neat and attractive. Pull the cork with your patent bottle opener in full view of the host. That's part of the showmanship. And never lend your opener. You may not get it back. Then slip the cork in your pocket as unobtrusively as possible. Wipe the top of the bottle with a clean napkin. Serve a little in the host's glass first to enable him to sample the wine. If a small piece of cork should still be in the wine, it will come out, but in the host's glass and not in his guest's. When the host has sampled the wine and nods approval, serve from right to left around the table, regardless of whether they are ladies or gentlemen. Always give the bottle a little twist as you finish pouring. This will prevent spilling and you won't have to use a napkin. This reduces the laundry bills and of course looks more efficient. Never fill wine glasses to the top. 2/3 full is the correct rule, which allows enough room for the wine to be moved around the glass and nosed. The host's glass is the last one to be served, but don't forget to do it. Finally, leave the bottle handy on the table. Or if it's chilled wine, in the ice bucket, so that the host or guests can help themselves if you're away from the table. Opening a bottle of champagne is a little different from other wines. Loosen the wire cap and remove the top of the foil, keeping your thumb on the cork so it won't pop unexpectedly. Slant the bottle so that the wine is less likely to overflow. Twist the bottle rather than the cork. Have a glass handy so that you can pour straight into it should the bottle begin to overflow, then carry on as before. If you carry out your duties as I've outlined, you can't go wrong, and your tips will be as good as mine. You've got everything in your favour. The Australian public is demanding more and more wine, and they're drinking it at home as well. But if you don't give them the service they want, they'll go somewhere else. Australian wine's the best in the world, made by wineries that are equal to any in technical know-how. There's something about wine that makes every meal an event. It brings an air of heartiness and good fellowship to every gathering. One sure way to make good food taste better is to serve good wine with it. Don't forget, suggest an appetizer before the meal, a table wine to follow, and finally, one of the many dessert wines to finish. It's up to you to help your customers and yourself. It means bigger tips and more repeat business. Remember, wine and food were made for each other. Courtesy and intelligent service make them work for you.